Hi guys, this is Natalie, and I'm here again tonight with another episode of PNP Discussion Corner. I'm gonna be joined tonight by Miss Michelle Stern. I hope that our technicalities all go well tonight, but share this live please so we can let others know that we are on and join the discussion tonight. We have some interesting things to talk about, right? We're gonna try and dissect this whole Rise United thing that has come into the party, and they're now in the leadership of the party. There is really no clear outline about where these guys are taking the party. These people came about 2019, June of 2019, when PNP, hi Joseph, when PNP had that challenge. And then, it's been a thing ever since inside the party. So, I'm going to be joined by Miss Michelle Stern. And when Michelle comes on, I will tell you guys who she is. And so, let's get a few more people on. Let's share the live so that we can get started, okay? All right. Let's see who's here. And you know what? There are some trolls that I'm gonna start getting rid of them. Like seriously. We're not the troll here, so right? So let's get started. Hi July. I like what you do last night. You turned it up last night. That's good. We got to educate and all those things. I'm thirsty. May I drink some pineapple soda with a little toops of wine tonight? Twist good? So, I want to talk Michelle Stern. Hi, Andrea. Good night. I'm doing fabulous, July. I'm doing great. Thank you. Good night, Andrea, Alicia. I want to tag Michelle Stern, please. Oh, God. That's something that love go off to say. I want to share it, please, so that we can get started here. All right. Alrighty. Let's see. You're too patient with them. It was really lovely and informative. Yeah. So what go on we do now? Oh no, this hold on, let me see if this is Michelle. There she is. Alright. Thank goodness we didn't have to wait too long for Michelle tonight. Not that she's kept us waiting at any point in time, but you wanna know sometimes the technical difficulties were our time, but we're patient, right? So there she is.
Hi,
Hi, Miss Michelle.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm not bad at all. Just trying to
Can
get
you
some
can you turn your
information.
audio up just a little bit?
Let me see. It's up to the max. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just speak up, cause me no know. Maybe I might ears too. Me no know.
No, maybe
But
I need to speak louder. Hi.
let me see. Hold on. Start now.
Can you hear me better?
Yes, it was my phone, I think. So,
Okay.
good night, ladies and gentlemen. This is Miss Michelle Stern. So, in case you didn't know, Miss Michelle Stern was the person who drafted that letter to the chairman of the PNP when the WhatsApp leak came out. A very well articulated letter. Miss Michelle Stern is not a member of the People's National Party, just so you know. She's just a Jamaican an observer, somebody who pays attention to what goes on in the Jamaican society. And yes, in terms of politics, but she's not politically affiliated with the PNP nor the JLP. Michelle,
Yes.
tell us, my dear, what is the Rise United Party?
All right. So I was just getting on the company's office website. I realized that I didn't download the when I checked, you see, I went online to see, these are businessmen. So I wanted to check to see if they have registered Rise United, which they
Yes.
didn't. Well, I haven't seen it, right? So, but what I found when I did a search was a business that was registered. Now, when you're doing any business in Jamaica that is not in your personal name, the law requires that you have to register that business. So I found one that's called the Office of Peter Bunting, right? And the address was Lady Musgrave Road. Now, so this is what I found. I don't know if Rise United was registered as, I'm not in Kingston, so I don't know if it's registered as a
What parish are
logo.
you in? Tell the people in what parish you're from.
Well, I'm a Kingstonian, but I'm in St. Anne at the moment, Northeast
Okay.
St. Anne.
All right. Good.
I was trying to find out, what it was. So I came upon that's the only thing I found for 80 Lady Musgrave
Mm-hmm.
Road. Well, I'm not going to be able to do it right now because it's distracting. So so I think though before we can look into what Rise United is, what I had in mind was to look at what the People's National Party is,
Okay.
right? So the People's National Party, a lot of people may think it's kind of an organization like a business. It's not a business. It's not what they call an incorporated business where you have like, um, you have members and so on. No, it's an unincorporated association. And what that means basically is that the members, right? The members are the ones that it's just an association of people that comes together or come together um, for a purpose. So unincorporated simply means that the party, People's National Party, cannot be sued. It's not a legal person. It cannot be sued and it cannot sue, which is the reason why what's his name? Julian had to take the NIDS matter to the court. So that's what that means. Now, as an unincorporated association, it means that all the members are basically equal. All the members have a role to play in the organization. So even the members in the group, the organization says what it is that they are supposed to do in the group, right? The voting rights, and any political work they're supposed to do. That's what it says, right?
Yeah.
Then it also now has officer corps, and the officer corps consists of persons who, in the PNP's case, were elected, and some of them were life members, depending on the length of time. And their job is to organize the people of the People's National Party, all the members,
Gotcha.
into a
Okay.
winning force because it is a political party. Now, the political party exists for one reason and one reason only, and that is to contest and win election. That's the purpose of the political party, to win state power. No other purpose. It's not a social club. It's not Ligani club where you go to play a little squash and play a little tennis. You understand? It's not a constant spring golf club where you go and play golf and whatever other sports they have there. It's a political party. So whenever persons are voting, they have to bear in mind that fact, right? What the party is there to do, win state power. Okay. Now, in terms of the People's National Party, how is it now that how is it now that the people, the persons that are in the organization of the People's National Party, what it is that they are there for? In the aims and the objectives of the party, it speaks to something called socialist society and something it calls democratic socialism. That's just part of the Constitution. I was trying to catch up on it, and I wasn't able to because you came on time this time. You caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Right. So number four, under the national, you have the national objectives, and you have, I think, the international. Right? It
Mm.
says that it is to promote predominantly the interests of the people as a whole by the organization of Jamaica, which is a country, into a country of small settlers, farmers, workers, and to develop the industrial, social, and other services necessary for the maintenance of such a social structure. That is what the PNP is about. So
Right.
when you decide that you are going to become a member of the People's National Party, you're not becoming a member of a winning. No, that's not what it is about. It is about democratic socialism. That is the glue. That is the glue that that determines what the unincorporated members, the association of unincorporated members, that is what they're all about, right?
Mm.
Democratic socialism. So if you come, so the parties, you can't come into the party, even though this is a democratic party, and talk about you're a capitalist. No, the purpose for which the members are a member of this association, the members that are of the association, is democratic socialism. That's it,
Mm.
right? And then you have others. Everything else about the party is telling you about the structure. So in order to understand what the People's National Party is, you have to understand what democratic socialism is, because that is what every member signs up for. You cannot be a member of the People's National Party unless you subscribe to the principles of democratic socialism.
Let me ask you a question real quick so you don't lose your train of thought. What about someone? What about because you have I've seen a few of these statements going around, mostly coming from people who align themselves with this Rise United thing. What about those who say the party need to change that ideology?
Well, it can happen, but I didn't get a chance, but I'm sure I saw somewhere where it says that the membership, all 40,000 people, right, would have to vote. I think that's what it says. If somebody can always correct me, right? To have that changed. It can't be a delegate's business. Because remember now, everybody's in everybody came on board socialist party. That is the thing that the members, that keeps the members as how should I put it now? That's the thing that the member, that is what the party is about.
So if anybody believes that that ideology should change, they should what? Bring it to the
Yeah, they have to go to the, I guess, the executive, and the executive will have to bring it to the membership. I'm sure that's where I saw. And then I'm not quite sure if it's a simple majority or a two-thirds majority to change, because they're talking, nobody in the party, NEC, can change that. Because
so
if
yeah,
you sign up to democratic socialism, and remember, no, all of the members are equal.
right.
So you can't just come on top and say you won't change. You have to
Oh,
go to the members, and the
right.
members now must
Consult
decide
with
that this is what they want.
okay, all right.
And who don't like it, if the majority, if it's a simple majority, and the others don't like it, they can go on about their business, because they are no longer, um, once they adopt this principle of what the ideology is, and you don't subscribe to it,
Yeah.
literally, technically, you're not a member, even if you
All
have a
right.
piece of paper.
Okay, I got you. So it's not a matter of you can just come up with this different idea of what you think the party should be and then come in there and rally others to change the ideology
Oh,
of the party.
yeah, you
That
can do that. That is, and I should tell you, I'm not a lawyer, right? I'm just reading and interpreting
All right, I'm
the
sorry. I'm
Constitution.
sorry.
So I need to let people understand that. But
Okay.
if, for example, these new people want to come up with something new, they have to go to all the members. Like, it's not. I don't think my recollection of reading the Constitution before
Yeah.
is that the delegates is not what who will be responsible now. All of the members have to participate and vote to
Okay.
change the ideology,
Okay. Okay. That's very, very clear. You made
right?
yourself clear. Go
So
on.
that now is what it means by unincorporated association. Now, it means now that there is one thing that every member of the People's National Party must be, and that's to believe in democratic socialism. Then there are other um, objectives. They have to subscribe to all of that. If you don't subscribe, you got to move on, because the membership is what the Constitution is set up to determine what it is the members are all about in this group.
Okay.
So when you come now to Rise United now, from I understand, listening to Peter Bunting last year, 2019, on one of those television programs,
Mm-hmm.
he explained that he sounded to me like somebody who was frustrated. He wanted certain changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sent it all to the leadership, and apparently he didn't get the kind of response that he needed. Bunting is also saying that as a campaign, a reason for the challenge, that the party needs modernization. And I think if I remember right, he was talking about the persons going out to do, like canvassing or whatever, using paper when they can be using tablet and that sort of thing, right?
Digitizing, digitization and modernization.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So he he took advantage of the two electoral losses, and he decided to challenge Dr. Peter Phillips, using the precedence of the fact that he had challenged Portia in 2008 as a legitimate. It's not illegal. It wasn't. He didn't do anything wrong by challenging, but it's just that it's not something that was done before, right, to a sitting leader. So he clearly, right, formed a group. We don't know the name of the group. That's the thing that's
Hold on there,
significant.
Michelle. When you say that it's something that hasn't been done to a sitting leader, can you clarify that, please?
Yes, as far as I understand it, you had an election in 2006 with four-way election,
Yeah.
right? That was I think they call it a runoff,
Yeah.
because PJ had retired. It wasn't a challenge in 2006. A lot of people are
No.
confused, right? PJ had signaled that he was leaving, and four people jumped into the race,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Portia emerged the winner, and then Peter Phillips challenged. Now I understand that you've had before persons challenging people on the floor. Like that is what the Constitution requires. You
Yeah.
go on a challenge, somebody just jump up and say, "No, I challenge you," and then the delegates vote. But most of the time, the incumbent is. But in terms of having a challenge where you actually go campaigning and this sort of thing, and then on the conference floor, I don't think it happened before. Like at the annual conference, so they campaign before, because they're going to challenge, so they campaign before, and everybody running up and down the country telling the delegates this is that and the other. I don't think that it ever happened like that before, when
Okay.
until till
And then, of
Phillips.
course, the timing, the 1 year before
That
kind of
was
thing.
problematic, right? But obviously Mr. Bunting is so confident of himself that he would have been able to carry it off. Now he had a group. And when he challenged, he had this slogan, right, called Rise United. That's what everybody thought. No, he challenged, he lost by a few votes. And when they lost, they made some nice speeches, Mark made a lovely speech. Bunting made a nice videotape speech. I'm not sure if it was televised. That the campaign is over. There's a winner. Let's rally behind the winner. Let's push the PNP forward. That, of course, was a hoax. It turned out after the November 7th internal election, which is another, wasn't a challenge, it was an internal election. After Mark Bowling won, that what would I say now? It was put out on social media, some leaked messages from 2019, right?
Hi,
And that was the
Conrad.
first time. Who?
No, Mr. Hi, Conrad.
Hello, Conrad. So this was the first time we were all knowing. This was the first time. Now people like me were here. We were hearing about this thing. Now they understand it. The person had published before 2000. I think it was November, right? Now, when I saw the flyer, because when I saw it last year, I wonder what the devil Bunting is talking about. It didn't make any sense. But when I saw this flyer that he put out on August 21, 2019, right, under his Peter Bunting JA Facebook page, it says here, Rise United has given many young people a chance to show what they can bring to the party. Now, I'm a person that when I read things kind of pop up. So he said here now, listen to this now. This is what Bunting is saying about Rise United. This is not me and you making this thing up. Bunting is the one saying it. He said Rise United has given many young people a chance to show what they can bring to the party. Now, this word party has a capital letter
A party chair
and
movement.
capital P.
Oh,
Yes, capital P. So they want to show what they're bringing to the party. Now, sometimes when you have these, they're doing these kind of, what they call it now, promotion. You
yeah.
might see all the letters that are in the left margin are capitalized. That is not the case here. And we all learn in school, we're not too bright in English, right? That when you see a capital letter is used on two occasions, three, I suppose. One, when it begins a sentence. And the second time, it's when it's referring to a person, place, or thing, a pronoun,
Rightfully.
right? And then the third time, I suppose it's the acronym. That is what they call it. And here is Bunting referring to this coming to, what is it, they can bring to the party with a capital P. Now I said to myself, what is he talking about? Anyway, he went on to say, with numerous interns and volunteers working in all critical areas of the movement. When I saw that, I nearly dropped down. I said, what is going on here? So Rise United is not a slogan. It is a movement, and it is a founder. I don't know if he's a founder. It certainly is a leader. He's telling us what it is. Now the question is, was it an exaggeration? Was it a lie? Meaning that, well, was it not? The word lie means when you say something that you know is not true. That is what when you tell a lie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did exaggerate. But he went on further to explain what he meant by movement. He said, from strategy, comma, policy, communication, activation to direct delegate engagement. So we have 5 areas that make up Rise United, the Rise United movement, right? So I was checking on the website, the company's office website to see if Rise United was registered, and it wasn't. So if Rise United, or what, if it's not Rise United, something else, Office of Peter Bunting, that is registered as a business to do, that is why I wanted to open it, to do, what they call it now, public relations. That's what it is, located at 80 Lady Musgrave Road. So this means now that Rise United was not a party slogan, it was a movement.
So this
right?
place here, Lady Musgrave Road, what is it? Is it headquarters of our, is
It would
that
appear
Bunting's
so
office?
because, yeah, it's his office. That is where we're assuming that is his office, but that is where his business address is, right? On the company's office website. I can actually click on that and tell you, see it here now, 80 Lady Musgrave Road, halfway through Jamaica. I have
Can
to
you
open it
confirm if
now.
that was the Rise United headquarters during the internal election?
Yes, in
The one?
one of the messages, right? He referred to them meeting at 80 LMR.
Okay.
You remember that one?
Yeah.
I don't have it here to tell you which page, right? So that
Yeah.
they're going to meet later at LMR. 80 LMR, that's Lady Musgrave Road,
Gotcha. Yes,
right?
I thought so.
So we are assuming, here we are. It is on NEC 4.
Mm-hmm.
This is when they were talking about, Peter Bunting was referring to Fenton Ferguson, made a comment. He said, Fenton and others who have commented, ideas are beginning to crystallize within me and others. That's Peter, it says here, right? And then he went on to speak about Mark has framed the difficult questions and partially answered them. This is the one about having lost. Should we continue to
And you are referring to
Mhm.
the WhatsApp leak, right?
Yes,
You
yes.
okay?
So he says other conversations are taking place in the policy group with Garnett and Tony Bowles. So they had a policy group. So here you are now.
Well, so who is Garnet? Who is Garnet now?
This
Anybody
must
know
be
who that?
Garnett Roper.
Oh, that is affiliated with the Rise United thingy.
Yes, but we
Okay.
don't know to what extent he would have been again a part of the plot. He could have been in something and was asked to do something. Is if when it goes before the disciplinary committee, he would have to explain himself.
So they have this thing that was leaked out, and then they have a policy group.
They have a policy group in
So,
addition to what it was that Bunting said that the organization was about: strategy and communication and face to face with delegates and this sort of thing, right?
yes, man.
So he went on to say other conversations are taking place in the policy group with Garnett and Tony Bowles. And then Fenton said, he said to Fenton, I think both yourself and Angie, I suspect that that is
Angela
Brownberg,
Brown. Mhm.
yes, have highlighted the need for some courageous conversations to take place with the other side, if there is to be a constructive engagement. Now, what this is telling you now, that Fenton Ferguson and Angela Brownberg actually wanted peace. They wanted to come to some kind of terms with Dr. Peter Phillips. Because, you know, when you have these, just after an election, internal election, you will have the people have them sides and everybody had little bad feelings, you know.
Mhm.
And there is no a question of coming back together because, you know, especially when you have hard words being thrown, because if it was just a matter of a challenge, right? Then it's a simple matter of people going back into the position that they were in before. But when you start to throw hard words, then you know you have a problem and you have to settle it. So that is what this was saying. And then he went on to say, now this is Bunting again. He said something and deleted. And he said, the truth is that PDP is frustratingly, I mean, I know this word, dilatory. I hope I pronounce it right, which is part of why we reach here in the first place. So it's like me and you, right, in a group. And I'm the leader and I want to achieve something. But then you want to settle the matter with the other side. So I have to find a way now to get you back and encourage to say, no, stay with me. What are you talking about? So he's saying, you know, the truth is, so he's discouraging them from thinking the way how they were thinking. That's how I read this. And then now, and then now he said, which is part of why we reached here in the first place and why we should not expect him to seize the initiative now. How you know that? Unless they try. So he was trying to discourage these persons who were inclined to
Go
go
back to
back
the
into the
fold.
fold. Right.
Okay.
Then he said, no, we had agreed to meet this Tuesday after Parliament at 80 LMR, where we could further the discussion in a structured way. Him have to talk to them now because them look like they want left the phone. You understand?
So
So we can.
who is encouraging them
This is
to not
Bunting
go back
talking all
to
the while.
this is Bunting talking to tell them say don't
Yes.
go back to PNP.
Yeah, yeah,
Them to
not saying
continue
it.
on the
He's just
mission.
saying that. Yes, when we meet later, we'll talk more about it, so we can, where we can discuss it in a structured way, right? Because it seems as if these two were getting a little fierce, so they might have a little argument. You understand?
Yeah.
If the thing come before the committee. All right, so that was it. Now, no. When I started out by, oh, let me not go there yet. Now, of all the evidence that came out, right, the most damning evidence is the discussion on NEC 1,
That's the evidence
where
you're talking about.
this is the leak messages now.
Okay.
We're on the leak messages because this is what is telling us what happened after the loss. They did not disband Rise United, right? They
Mm.
continue to meet. They created a WhatsApp group called Rise United Strategists. And in that group, you had Mark Goling. Let me start with Peter Bunting since he's a leader. Peter Bunting, Mark Goling, you have Ian Hills, you have Dayton Campbell, you had Angela Brown Burke, Luther Buchanan, you had Fenton Ferguson. Did I mention Ian Hills?
Yeah.
And let me see who else. You had Audrey Smith Facey, that's a young lady, the councillor from down Portia's constituency there, Southwest St. Andrew. You had Donovan Mitchell. You had Maureen Weber, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I left out somebody, Colin Fagan. They were in the group because these are the names that came up in
Mm-hmm.
these messages. So that is what they did. They did not disband. No, any other kind of internal um, elections, right? Everybody have a little slogan, the little thing, hard words throw sometimes, and then they're trying to come back together. But they come back together as a party because guess what? They are an unincorporated association. You
Let
can't
me
have
ask you a
differences of
question.
opinion.
Have you ever seen somebody run like an internal election where somebody run a 3 month, 2 to 3 month campaign in an
No,
internal either in a JLP or PNP?
the PNP, what the PNP should have done, because they knew the election would have, they all decided that the election would have been called the following year, which is this year, last year, 2020. What they ought to have done, once Peter Bunting decided to challenge, they should have called the election outside of the conference. If you want challenge in the conference, it's business. He would have to do it on the floor. So if they had done it as quickly as the Constitution would allow, okay, you're challenging, okay, we accept. We're going to have nomination day, we're going to do this, that, and in the meantime, they try and get all the groups and so on together in order to get the delegates together. They should have had it as quickly as possible. They should never have allowed it to go on to September, because they ought to have known from experience, right? In 1980, man learned his lesson with that everlastingly long campaign that cost the life of 400 people. This is the reason why the laws change for a shorter period for election. You don't want no long drawn out thing. So it was a surprise to me that the PNP decided to have the election at conference. Why the hell, or a week or two before, why the hell they didn't just have the thing within the time frame of the Constitution? You wouldn't have the damage.
They campaigned from about late June
July, I believe.
late June to early September. And I remember Dr. Peter Phillips had cautioned Bunting that we need to get this over with as soon as possible. Clearly, there was a general election on the horizon, which happened 1 year later. So, I mean, I think Peter Bunting's excuse was that he needed to go around and know the delegates.
That is not his call. You don't know who he wanted already. That was not his call. The party make a decision and that's it. You're going to run or you don't run. You want to challenge on the floor, that's your business. You understand? That was not his call, but he said he would not have it. And they went and they, for some reason, right, allowed this protracted period of campaigning, right, which I don't think was wise from experience. That was what happened. The longer the campaign, as even with this last internal election, as when it's especially when it's coming down to the wire, That's when you start to hear the words them start to get flung about, right? And so because of this long period of campaigning and the words them throwing and it get bitter and bitter and bitter, um, it caused a fractious it was a fractious election. Well, Peter Phillips won by 76 votes. Now they now know how much votes they need to win by. You understand? They know they need more than 76 votes so that they can challenge at the next conference. So inside of this WhatsApp meeting, right, based upon the evidence that was provided, we saw a message where Bunting was telling you refer to it all the time, when he was speaking to Hales and ask him, you know, not to put, when he's forming the groups, remember not to put Rise United. He says, I beg you tell them leave Rise United out of the group name. It is a dead giveaway. No, it seems to me from this that Bunting was the one in the group that was put in charge of group formation, and Hales was the man on the ground that was organizing it, right? So they have somebody named Gooden and somebody named Ramsey, and they were in Hanover, and they said Central. I don't know if Central is Central Westmoreland or where. They were forming these groups, and they formed, it seemed, 400 groups, right? But it wasn't the real problem that I think they're going to have to face is the meeting that they had where Mark outlined give his legal advice, having lost, should we continue to rise during the period before the next election? That's a question. That's number one. Number two, if so, what is the right way to keep rising without appearing, you know, not without indulging in, not without undermining the party's chances, without appearing to do so. So there's a reason why I use the word appearing. Indulging anti-party activity and undermining our chances in the next general election.
When I say our chances in the next general election, we matter about Rice chances,
No, the PNP.
the PNP's chances in the next general
Yes,
election. Which next
yes.
general election?
That would have
2025?
been 2020, the one that they expected. And
Okay.
they had all in the PNP met and determined that the JLP, because the election was due in March of this year.
Mm-hmm.
So they figure that it's more than likely that they will call the election last year. And then how they know when an election is in the air is when they notice the movements on the ground. They will get feedback that, oh, the JLP are going with some things on the ground, something going to happen.
Yeah.
So this is how they figure out these things. So they all expected it. They don't know when, but they know it will be in 2020, right? So when Mark said, right, having lost if we appear to be pursuing our own political agenda and undermining the party's chances of victory, this is the PNP is talking about, no capital P, we will pay a price for it, and not just in the form of opprobrium from Peter Phillips supporters, but from independent-minded comrades as well. So he's telling them, you see if this thing ever come out, you see
Trouble
if we
there.
do what we need to do to rise, because the plan was that they were going to challenge in the next conference because they just lost by 76, despite
And
the
they
fact
were
that they
sure
need
that
an
the party
election
was
year.
going to lose.
Huh?
They were sure the PNP would lose the general election.
No, they weren't sure at all. You see, when you read what they have here, and judging by the fact that they pick somebody like Mark, I mean, obviously they want to win the election. If they pick somebody like Mark, it's because they think, right, that the party can win with anybody as long as they have a message. If they thought that the party would lose, there would be no need for all of this. They knew the party could win.
You think they knew the party could win?
Oh, yes. Of course, there wouldn't be no need for this. They just sit back and wait for it to lose. Right? So they know, and they said that, so he said that. And I come into a point now. I just reading this. Now he says, now listen to this now. This is a problem. Remember what we said, what the PNP is, an unincorporated association. Everybody must be on the same page, right?
Okay.
Insofar as it not only what the constitution of the party says, but also when the leadership and the members in the leadership come to a policy decision as to how they're going to approach a direction. Right now, the party has no direction. There's a ship out at sea, and the captain is somewhere, don't know what he's doing, missing in action, and the ship is just floating, going about its business. There's no direction. We know that because when you look at their bloggers, not even them saying anything, which means nobody's telling them what to do or what to say. So the ship is out there, lost at sea, with no direction, autopilot, right? And we only hope it don't hit rock before something is done. So here is the trick. Here's the thing. He said here, I think, this is Mark Golding speaking, Mark Golding, think Peter Bunting in particular, and also our other leaders. So he's telling us that there are other leaders, right? And obviously these other leaders are not in the WhatsApp group. So
Them
there's
probably
another
over the
tier.
policy group.
Yeah, not the policy either, because policy is just a group of people that they decide to put in this group to come up with a policy for Rise United.
Okay. So they call them to craft and draft the
Yes,
policy
for
for
Rise
the
United.
Rise United movement.
Rise United movement. Policy. So this is not a slogan. And this is after. And this is not just policy. This is not just them coming up with intending to challenge and coming up with some kind of election, what would you call it now? An election ploy in order to secure the victory. No, no. They said policy. That's a different story, right? No. So he said, so after they did all of that, Mark Golding is saying what he thinks that each one of them. So there is another tier, and maybe Dayton Campbell might think he's it, but I have my doubts as to whether these people who are in this group, I mean, they don't drink German beer, right? You understand? These are not the German beer people. There might have been another leadership group that they probably don't even know. But we don't know. I'm just speculating here now, right? Based upon what they're saying. So he says that he thinks that Peter Bunting, as well as the other leaders, should continue to advocate, listen to me, man, not to advocate in the group, publicly. I wonder if the comrades understand what I'm saying. They must continue to advocate publicly in a constructive manner. Doesn't matter how you do it, from it public, on all national and party issues. Who the hell gave them authority to do that as member of the party? Who gave them authority to do that? That they are going to be advocating publicly on national issues. So they have their own idea about what issues should be, what their opinion would be, or what their ideas are about solving Jamaica's problem,
Why
right?
didn't they invite Dr. Peter Phillips to be a part of all of this festivity going on in this Rise United movement?
I don't understand. Dr. Peter Phillips?
Yeah, I mean, if they, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there as the party
No.
leader.
What happened was after the, let me tell you what I think happened. After the election and the loss, I think Dr. Peter Phillips was trying, based upon how Dayton was behaving, them take with a boy and we now go do this and do that. It sounded as if that Dr. Peter Phillips was trying to retain control of the party. So he might have been a little firm. That's why Peter Bunting was talking about this. I think Golding was talking about this 30-minute monologue and this type of thing, right?
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
was trying to maintain control of the party. And they were complaining that this is not unity. Them just treating us this way and treating us that way. Because they seem to think that they are a force and they should be reckoned with. And then you have one of them, I think Fenton was saying, or Luther saying that, they're tired of this business. And if we continue to, it would seem as if we are, let me see where it says. It would seem as if it would affect the support that they have, right? If, or to the public, the supporters, that they are, it's business as usual. You remember that comment? So they didn't want it to appear to be business as usual. Because if it seems as if they are uniting with the PNP, right? Then it would, the people who are there supporting them would say, oh, well, all right then, since it's unity time, they could join, but and they don't want that because that would affect the support that they get when they challenge, which would have been September of
So
last
they
year.
wanted to take those supporters that challenged them within the PNP's internal election with them to form their movement, party, whatever they might form.
No, what they were trying to do is maintain the support.
Oh,
They were
oh,
trying to maintain the support that they had, right? So they didn't really want the people to think that they really unite with it because then they may decide to go and start support, the party. Everybody is one. They weren't one. They only said that they wanted to be one with the PNP, but that wasn't their intention, right?
okay.
Because they went and formed this WhatsApp group, right? So here they are telling that this is what Mark was saying, right? That they
Mm-hmm.
must publicly speak on national and party issues on which we have something significant to say. Who is the we? Not the PNP. Not the PNP. The we here now is him and the leadership and the Rise United movement. That's the we that he's talking about. So the PNP is out there with all of it, Lisa and Damian and Dr. P with all the other members, right? And those who weren't invited to the Rise United Party, right? The ones who probably were not members. And I understand, by the way, that they're dues paying members. That is an understanding. I haven't yet been able to confirm it. But as soon as I'm able to confirm it, the people will hear about it, right? Dues paying members. Which means that if they are not registered, it means that they too are an unincorporated association of people. There has to be a constitution if that is the case, right? Which says how each one of them, how the organization is to be set up. I haven't been able to find anybody who can let me see what that constitution is yet. You understand? So this is part of the problem. Now listen now. He says now, Peter Bunting, this is Mark again speaking, making his suggestion of what he thinks is the way forward for them. Peter Bunting should continue to be assertive in keeping with his inner conviction, especially in Parliament. Did we all see it play out? When he
Yeah,
was the
I think
party,
Dean Jackson Miller did ask him the question, they're like, why you behave so at the parliament like, you were positioning yourself. That
yes, but
was when he confirmed he would challenge Dr. Peter Phillips.
yes, but this was after the challenge now.
Oh, he said he
So
should
Mark is saying
continue.
that he should continue that.
Okay.
Especially in the Parliament. Why especially in the Parliament? Because everybody is watching. So it is like, for example, you have the PNP, and then you have somebody who decide to go in, them have a falling out with the organization, a member of parliament, and they decide to go independent. So them sit down by themselves
I
and them
remember,
speak.
yes, yes, they were
Ex-
segregate. Yes, yes, they
Yes,
were.
right. So when I'm talking about now, he must keep with his inner conviction, especially in parliament. And we should all rally behind him when he does so. Who is the we? The members of parliament who supported Bunting in the Rise Unite. Those are the we, the ones that went and sat by themselves. In not done this, in not finish. He went on to say, organizationally, group that organizationally, in Matabo Rise United. You see, it's an organization. Organizationally, group strengthening should be the order of the day, meaning that them are going to form groups.
That a man go and
Org-
I say so.
Him a talk the whole time, man.
Okay, okay.
This is what him think, right? And so that should be the order of the day. Others have made useful points on how best to do this. This is the group strengthening, right? And it's still not finished, right? Listen to this part now. Wellness, lifestyle, financial literacy, workshops for PNP people, especially delegates across Jamaica, would also help to encourage our supporters, Rise United supporters, and bring others on board for when the Rise, capital R, trumpet sounds again. No, we hear some people coming to tell, I understand people coming to tell the members they need to go under the big tent,
Mm.
right? The big tent brigade, I call them. And when people bring up, how can I go under the big tent with people who betray the party? They said, oh, no, man. This group, after the leak, after the initial leak last year, November, I understand, the spokesperson for the Big Tent Brigade, right, said, obviously that is what she was told. She was told, right, that the WhatsApp group was, yes, they did have the group, they acknowledged that they had the group, but that the group had, after the leak, they had dismantled the campaign and they had deleted the group or something to that effect, right? So obviously, if they go before the disciplinary committee to answer questions about this group, that is what they're going to tell them. No, we don't have any proof that them form anything else, but we don't need that. All we need is to show, right,
The
that the
con.
plan that Mark outlined here is what they had implemented. We saw in Parliament Bunting making his assertions, asserting himself on his own inner convictions pertaining to the state of emergency, right? We saw leak after leak going on, and I understand that their Bunting was in Mark's constituency sometime last year,
Yes, ma'am.
where they were
Yeah.
given financial
I think it was like financial
literacy.
uh, independence, literacy, and things of that nature. Yeah, he was in there.
So that is the evidence that the workshop that they were setting up
Hmm.
was being carried out. So it didn't matter whether or not they had they had shut down the WhatsApp group. That doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is the plans that were set out in the group is what they were executing.
But I mean, I saw the messages. I read every one of them, and although there's no date, the content of the conversation tells us that this conversation was had after the challenge was lost. That would put us after September
September.
2019,
Mhm.
when they should have dismantled and break down the campaign and got back on board, but they had a completely different plan than what
Yes.
is expected after you lose an
Hmm.
internal election.
And
So
Mark
let me
referred to
ask
it as,
you, huh?
Mark referred to it as an agenda, right? If they were
Yeah,
seen to be appear to be promoting their own agenda. So this is a
political.
plan that they had made in that WhatsApp group before. This is a critical one that was published on the internet, right? On the online, which has gone viral. And this now is given the outline. And then now we know that Peter Bunting was forming the groups. He seemed to have been the one coordinating it because he was speaking to what's his name. And so this now comes to my original when I started out by saying what the PNP is, right? Here you now have a group of people, party members, right? Remember now we know it's an association of people of like mind. And here you have a group of people who have separated themselves from the party, acting in secret because they know what they were doing was wrong. Acting in secret, planning, right? And what it is that they were planning to do, to be speaking publicly on national and party issues. would have made the party look to
Weak.
disunited.
But this time united and weak.
That was a simple plan. Because if the party had won, Peter Bunting would have to wait another 5 years to take over. And he was on a timeline. 4 terms, he said. He said it himself. He gave Central Manchester 4 terms. 4 terms, and the fourth term would have been this term. This is the term he wanted to become prime minister. And he didn't want to wait.
So let me ask you something. Can you speak to the constitution of the PNP in terms of their activity in the party?
As far as I can see, because of what the PNP is, right? An unincorporated association of people, right? When certain members set themselves aside and form a group under the banner, they wear on their shirt PNP, right? That is a reason for expulsion because they are no longer a member of the fold. So if there are 1,000 of them or 2,000 of them, not the delegates, not the delegates that vote, we're talking about the members of this group, right? They have set themselves aside, so they have no business in the party in the first place. That alone is grounds for expulsion because they are no longer a part of the unity of people that subscribe to democratic socialism and the
No,
people and member of the party.
do you know of the constitution? What exactly does the constitution says about? Because to me, all of that leak and stuff, that to me constitutes anti-party activity,
Yes,
undermining, um, betrayal, really, and all those terms that would come under the banner of anti-party activity. So, does the
yes,
Constitution specifically prohibits those
yes,
behaviors inside the party? And if so,
yes. Now,
tell us
what section was
exactly
it
what it
again?
says.
Hold on, let me see now. Let me see now. Anti-party. Let me see if anti. It's on that. I'm doing a search here now. I'm trying to find a section of the Constitution. Disciplinary. That's what I'm looking for. Disciplinary. I'm doing a search. Oops. Let me see
Take
if
your
that's it.
time.
Disciplinary committee. Okay, I'm just trying to find it. It's 100 and I'm trying to. I can't remember where it is. Just a moment. Let me consider. Let me consider. Let me consider. What is the heading? You remember what the heading was? Discipline.
Um, you guys
Here it is, discipline.
watching.
It's
Um,
section 198. So section one, no, under the electoral office. This constitution, by the way, was I think it was this would not have been the original, right? This is the one that they would have put together in 2008
the
at
PNP
annual conference.
Constitution.
Yeah, this particular one, it seems as if they did an update to
Oh,
the
okay,
Constitution in 2008.
okay, I see.
So even though it doesn't say, I think it says somewhere, that the members, and I was looking for it to come on, that when you're going to look to join as a member, they give you like something like 8 weeks before you can actually become a member. This is when you're going through the group, and you
And
have
that's
to
preliminary
attend certain amount
membership.
of meeting and so on,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Now, under the discipline now, Section 198 of the PNP's constitution. So it says now the National Executive Council, the NEC, which is the highest body in the party. It's not the president that is the highest body, the NEC, right? That was why when Peter Phillips lost East Portland, and I think one of the members bowed out and said, need to go, the NEC called him to a meeting. He had to go there and talk up the things and show what he's going to do and so on. And then they said, okay, they give him his full support. If the NEC did not, they would have asked him to resign. So they said that they still have confidence in him. He has, the full confidence and the full backing of the NEC,
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
Right. So so you know that if the NEC said, look, boss, this thing and never work out, you're going to resign. You don't want to resign, you're going to take embarrassment. because I'm going to instruct the MPs them to remove you. I want to understand. Because, they're the ones who determine who sits in what seat. So you don't fool with the NEC. So the NEC now, the National Executive Council, may, on its own initiative or on the report of any party member, inquire into the conduct of a party member and suspend or expel any such member for conduct which, in the opinion of the council, is contrary to the interest of the organization, programs, policies, or principles of the party. So the organization. So what they would have done would have been against the organization, right? Because they weren't necessarily attacking the programs or the policies, right? The democratic principles of the party. Some people may argue that when they were forming a group in order to challenge, it might have be against the party's principle. But of course, if there's precedence for that, that's a different story. So what they were doing now would have been contrary to the interests of the party. You are there as a member, right? And remember now, it's all about democratic socialism. Everybody is there to play a role. Every member in the party who is a member down to the little man who is a delegate. Once he's a member, he has a role to play in advancing the interest of the party. And the party, by the way, are the members. So
Right,
you're
right.
supposed to, they tell you what it is. You hear the leader say so and then it's woo, and then you run out there and you go and promote, right? They're supposed to get like flyers and stuff like that and different things to promote the party. That's what the
Yeah,
members do,
yeah.
right? So so that is what they're supposed to do. So when these people form a group and they were out there speaking publicly upon issues, national issues, right? When the party was saying something else, that's anti-party activity. That's
Now, let
against
me ask
the
you,
interest of the organization.
would you apply the words coup and infiltration to what Rise United did to the PNP?
No, it's not an infiltration because they are party members.
Would you apply the word coup to what they did?
A
Um,
coup,
it says they say it's a movement.
it's a movement.
That's what you just read. Said that
Yes, it's a
Bunting
movement.
referred to Rise United as a movement
It's a
in the
movement.
party.
That's what him said. Yes.
Yeah. So when people say that they found a coup inside the party, would you say yes or no?
A coup. Well, a coup is usually something where you have a legitimate, no, it wouldn't necessarily be a coup. I would describe them as a parasite. Yes, because let me tell you why.
Hey, you
Because what
cut
they
me
were
off
doing,
there.
they were using Ian Hills, right? What we don't know, we don't see enough to know what it was that Dayton was doing. Because when you have the strategic group, you're going to have people with different roles. The only one we were able to see so far is the role of Bunting and
Yeah.
Ian Hills. We don't know what Dayton was doing. We don't know what Angela was tasked to do, right? And we don't know the others that were there, what they were all tasked to do. So we just have to work with what we have, right? And what they were doing, they were using the party's machinery,
Against
right?
it.
And yes, because I don't know who that young lady Ramsey is, but there's no way she could be forming group unless she's somebody that is in a position to form group. No party people, you understand, and have experience. There is somebody else named Gooden, and there was only the two names that were mentioned. Then there was another lady, Nikisha, what, Birchell or something like that.
Something like
I
us,
think she
yeah.
was. Yes, don't know what she was doing, right? So they were using the machinery, the party's machine. So when the general secretary is there, right, and you have the all the various chairmen and secretaries and so on of the divisions and the constituency and the region, right? Each one of them have their task to carry out. Some of them supposed to be enumerating, right? And when you as you can't be up there and know what is happening. Them send you a report. You have to deal with that report because the political party is also about trust.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
why it was written the way it was
So,
written.
boy, so, Walande, let me think about what we really want to ask her right now. So, um, the way that they did that, and that's out in the open now. Everyone knows. And I on my page encourage it. I encourage everybody who are aware of what these people did in at the party to spread the word and let it be known, and then let the electorate decide wherever the election keep, whenever with a by-election, local, whatever, make the people them decide, because there has to be transparency, right? And so
The fridge.
what has happened now is that you call them
Right.
parasites. Parasitic behavior, I guess that's fine too. So now that they're in the party's leadership, right? And now that they've been exposed with this WhatsApp business now, what do you think their position is at this time?
Well, all right. When I said they were parasites, now you know what a parasite is, right? A parasite is
Parasitic
something that
behavior.
lives on a host. And what has happened is that the parasite is now control has attempted to and is now it's not full. They're not fully in control yet of because they're not in control of the NEC. You know, some people seem to think they're in control of the NEC. They're not in control of the NEC yet.
Yeah,
Right? These are people who are there for these are loyalists, real PNP people. And you will have some of them that would have converted
yeah,
to to rise. You understand? But
yeah,
many of them some people who would have supported rise is supporting rise because of the words that Bunting used. You know, little words like modernization and technology, all these little sweet things, right?
yeah,
And I would suggest to these persons, you see, who are listening now, listen to me. Go into Mr. Bunting's constituency and ask the workers when you went out to do your canvassing, did you do canvassing? Because he was so confident enough that he was going to bring home the seat. So his mother, if I am going to bring something new to the table, I am going to, I have money, so I'm going to implement it in my constituency because even though the constituency is it's a part of a whole, right? I'm doing my job to bring home the constituency.
yeah, yeah.
Right? So it benefits me and it benefits the people.
The
So
part.
if I come with something new and I have my money, I will put it in place in my constituency so that you can see this is what, when I said that, this is what we need, man, to improve the party. So here's an example. I want to know if the workers got any tablet to go there and if there's any software in any computer that they use in order to make canvassing simpler, easier, and more convenient. I want to know that.
Yeah, because
Because if he
what they
didn't
did inside
implement
the
that,
party, what
eh?
they did inside the party, you see, where some people, even though they don't believe that it's treason, I feel like very comfortable using the word treason.
Oh, it
And
is.
yes. So what and the people see that and they say, oh, it's nothing, it's just that, it's called organization. And I'm saying, okay, if they have these all these organization skills, why did Bunting lose his seat? Why did Dayton lose his seat? Ian Hayes, why did PMP lose the election if you got all this skill inside of the party?
Well, more than that. If Bunting is about organization, technology, and modernization, then it should have started in his constituency.
Then that, yeah,
And
that's
if it did,
true.
and then look at it this way. They ask him on nomination day, it seemed as if the news media heard and knew something. They ask him how confident are you that you're going to win. He said very confident because he put in the work. So hold on, Is that how a man with money determines whether or not he's going to win a seat? Didn't he do a canvass? Didn't he do a sounding on the ground to know that he was in trouble? So
Maybe he
this
thought that being
modernization,
there 3 terms was enough. And this
no,
young
no, but
girl,
yeah, but you need to do your work on the ground. I'm just learning little tag words, right, from when I hear party people speak. You need to do your work on the ground. You can't assume nothing, right? So I'm trying to find out if he applied this modern way of thinking about politics, right? And didn't do the work that he was supposed to do, which is traditional politicking. You can't come out. It's not any modernity or any technology that bring it. It's not a substitute for doing the work on the ground. To know where you stand and if you're in trouble, you know what to do to fix it. And if you need to fix some road yourself, fix some water around yourself. So how is he was so confident that he was going to win? He didn't know. He didn't do his work. Too busy undermining the party. He didn't do his work.
Do you think
They
that
didn't do their work.
because this came to mind as well. Because I'm saying if you're gonna organize yourself to come back and challenge the leader or whatever like that to lead the party. So if in order to make sure that that plan is executed, you got to make sure that the PNP loses the election. PNP has to, or else they don't stand a chance.
Yeah,
So
but you
I
don't
began
want to lose
to
your
wonder
seat.
if I began to wonder if these people intentionally lost their seat and was just fronting, like say boy they be want win. Wait,
All right. No, they
let's
can't
see.
intentionally lose their seat. That wouldn't make any sense.
Okay.
Because if Bunting had won, Bunting would have been the one who would be sitting there now. We'll be cussing him, not Mark. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, you did say, you did ask um, about them being how they operated, right?
Mm.
They, the reason why they lost their seat, that business that they did down in Trenchtown that you were telling me about, when they were selling, they were operating these workshops that Mark suggested is what they need to do to
Yeah.
attract members. Don't understand this. They could only do that in their own constituency. So when the PNP people on the, because people were telling us, that the party is not united. We said, what are they talking about? Because we hear, the people speaking with one voice. Occasionally we hear a little leak, right? You hear a little leak here and there. And, but you didn't know what was going on until we saw the leak messages and the plan set out by Mark. That was what they were playing out. So
The
they're
man where
going
the
to do,
man in a them party, Luther Buchanan, I think him is, who said him is ready to be a part of the league team, something like so.
yes, well, I'm not sure if it appeared above his name, but we're not sure if he was the one that actually said it.